Well, welcome to this week's Bushel Up. A little change of scenery. We're coming to you from our Central City field up here. We love our Central City field because it gives us opportunity to look at some farming on sand, some higher pH environments where we get above that 8 pH, as well as some ridge-till. We planted ridge-till this year. Looked very good right out of the gate with the wet conditions. The ridge-till systems have really looked good. So as you can see, we've got our signs up. We're ready for tours. We started having a few guests come through this week. So as a grower, if you're passing through Hastings, Aurora, or up here at Central City, just please reach out to your location. They can get a hold of me or our team, and we can walk you through at any time if you want to see what's going on. So a little bit of what's going on here. We have started to irrigate a little bit. As you can see behind me, we're just starting to tassel. We're just going into pollination. So I know there's been some questions. Obviously, we have good soil profile moisture, but we got to watch those top few inches, make sure we don't get too dried out. The last thing we want to do is make this crop work extra hard or put stress on it as we're going into pollination. So be aware of that. I know I've seen some pivots going. We've been running a little bit of water ourselves. We did a little pre-tassel fertigation. Now we'll wait for brown silk, and we'll put another shot of nitrogen and instat on once we get done. Switch gears real quick to soybeans. Soybeans, you can see we've got flowers going clear up and down. You know, we're well into that R2 stage. We're starting to form a few pods. Again, our biggest concern is, you can see there's a lot of blooms, a lot of flowers going on here. We want to protect those. Pay attention. The Japanese beetles are still pretty thick. We're having to go in and retreat a few fields, a few plots. So don't let them get ahead of you. Again, we have an assortment of insects. I'm not going to go through those again. We've talked about them in past weeks, but just be aware of your soybeans. There's a lot of work going on there. They're kind of in their period where we're just doing the vegetative growth, the flowering, and then starting to set those pods. Not really filling anything yet. So we'll talk about that management strategy going forward. But again, hopefully, if you're concerned about white mold, those treatments are already on. Time will tell what's going to happen here. As you look behind me, we talk about plants, and the most important thing is protecting these silks. When you look at corn rootworm beetle, when you look at the Japanese beetle, if you've ever seen them, they come and they just basically peel these silks back and start eating down in the husk. And so, that agronomy 101, but every silk goes to a kernel, and we need every silk to pollinate. Otherwise, we get skips, we get those gaps. If we get a lot of early silk clipping, we start missing those butt kernels. And, sometimes you don't realize that later on because those will squeeze in and fill out. But we're not really compensating. We still want that full kernel. Even though some of those gaps may look like they go away, we're missing a kernel, and we're missing that opportunity for yield. Then we worry about the tip feeders, the corn earworm, the western bean cutworm. Western bean cutworm remains pretty heavy. It's really variable, and that's the name of the game with western bean. If you look at people that have light traps out, kind of have a network out, we have a network out of our own, you'll see variable results, and that's just because different stages of corn. Western bean cutworm are driven by pheromone smell, similar to what the Japanese beetle. And so they'll pick out those fields that are going into tassel. They kind of move around. I've seen fields where we can't find any. Come back a week later and it's loaded up. So be scouting. I always recommend scouting, but we can also trust the flight monitors to tell us that they've been here, they've been doing their work, and sometimes they're hard to find. So protect those tips. Finally, I know the airplanes are rolling. We're getting those fungicides on. Very concerned. Again, just the conditions we've had, some dewy mornings. The temperatures now are cooling down here for a few days. Very conducive to disease development. We're seeing stuff to the southern side of our trade area around the Nebraska-Kansas border really start to blow up. Gray leaf spot, a lot of rusts out there, bacterial leaf streak. And now the reports of tar spot and confirmations are coming in. Please understand that's a month to a month and a half sooner than we were getting confirmation. Most of our confirmations were around the tail end of August last year. We've already had, I believe, 5 or 6 counties, and I know there's more samples that have been sent in here over the past week. So I expect that to climb. That's our big concern this year, not trying to put fear, but just trying to educate that there is a latency period, and it's not a 5 to 10 bushel yield loss if you get tar spot bad. It's significant. And so I know we're getting to that point where we spent a lot of money, but we got to finish this crop and follow all the way through the finish. We don't want to all of a sudden give up 20, 30, 40 bushel here at the end when we can prevent it. So reach out to us. We can help you scout your fields. Wish everybody a safe week. Got some clouds this morning. The cool weather definitely feels better. Maybe that'll help. Be nice if it bring a little rain. I didn't think I'd say that again. After going a week without rain and kicking pivots on, we could use a little moisture. But stay safe, and we'll see you next week.